Hi guys. So I said last time that I was going to start looking more into the business value of marketing and communications inside technology companies. It's a really interesting thing came up for me this week is I've got a friend who's in the process of rebranding their agency in London and moving their positioning in terms of the type of work that they're doing. So he's been working on the naming process, working on positioning the business, working on how they tell their story to clients. And it's been really interesting for me because they actually worked with Klaus really closely in the past, and I haven't been involved in this process at all because I'm here in New York. And what I've observed, which is really interesting now that I can look at a rebranding process with a little bit more distance, is that you've got to address two sides of your audience and yourself. You have to address both the rational and the emotional. And I've seen branding processes, even just like individual items of marketing collateral, end up too strongly focused on one or the other. So if you have someone who ends up too focused on the emotional side of what they're trying to communicate, it can start to become too esoteric. It can become too emotional. It can become all about just what is the brand making you feel, and it loses the practicality of the communication, and that can put some people off. On the other hand, it can become too rational. So if you focus too much on, we are just going to explain the features of the product and we're not going to talk about the business or the team or anything emotional or intuitive at all, then that can become far too dry and tends to end up undifferentiated from the rest of the marketplace. So one of the things I've noticed is that if your communication looks absolutely like everyone else in the industry, then you may have been too rational and too focused on the features and benefits of the business. And you haven't injected enough emotion and enough personality to actually create some difference. But on the other end of the spectrum, if you've gone too far and created a piece of collateral which is so different that people don't really understand it, that even your direct target market doesn't quite resonate with it, and that people don't quite understand what it is that you're saying. So you look absolutely nothing else like anyone else in the industry, so much so that people don't get it, then you may have gone too far into the emotional side of things. So you may be kind of trying to tell the story of the why, but without actually explaining the what. And I think the biggest power in marketing and communication comes when you can bring together both the rational and the emotional together so that people understand what it is you're trying to say, what the product is, how it's relevant to them, how it would deliver. But it can also communicate why you care about it, why you share the same values as your audience, what it is that you're trying to create as a business. And so for me, really strong communication comes when you blend the emotional and the rational.